Okay, so before we do jump into this set, we're going to be taking a look at a Sekai Doggo set. I do not know the person that he's fighting. The only thing that I know is that he plays Hero. So Hero Duck Hunt, it's one of those, the first time that you play it, you're going to think it's absolutely awful. Bounce, obviously you can't use your projectiles at all since he's just immune to all of it. So any traps that you normally do are just not going to work. He's going to force you to play grounded, and you're going to be forced to play with your normals a lot. The other thing as well is the hero himself is actually able to control like your projectiles and everything fairly well outside of bounce. Obviously, disjoint, so you can hit the can away pretty safely. Large damage output, so you are going to at least kill the gunman. You're going to kill the clay pigeon pretty easily. The other thing too is that thunder or zap. I think it's zap in this case. Really, really good at controlling space and just like kind of like knocking projectiles out of the way. So traditionally speaking, if you think of a conventional duck hunt way, it's going to mess with how you're going to want to control the actual ground. The reason why it's really not that bad is that the hero himself just has like awful frame data all around. So pretty much if you know how to exploit that, it's kind of hard for him to get anything started, and you can just kind of like keep him juggled for a very long time. And that's going to be the main things that you're going to push. Obviously, hero's hero, so there's just random things that he can BS you with. And again, his ability to control the space is pretty good. And if you think for a second of doing like traditional duck hunt things, there is a good chance that he might like catch you slipping and just kill you for it. So that's something that you got to be careful of. So basically, you just outpatience the bounce, and then you just play with normals. When bounce is not there, you can do your traditional duck hunt stuff, and it's pretty effective against him overall. It's just that he does have a decent amount of counterplay to it. So let us see exactly where you struggle. Also, something to keep in mind is do keep an eye on their MP, because like if they're getting like below, if they get below 20, there's not really a lot of scary things that they can actually throw out with you, and I don't think that's something that people really keep in mind against him. Yeah, that was really good space coverage right there. Yeah, and the other thing too that was good is that since he wasn't like at something that a lot of you duck hunt players are really bad at is like even if they're at like these low percents, you guys throw out your smash attacks. That was one where you didn't have to, you just did like an F tilt and then just kept him at the ledge, and he's probably gonna get a lot more damage off of this. This guy's been on the rise in my region and beat me in 3 consecutive sets. Oh wow. Oh, hey, thanks for the sub. I don't know how you sub twice with Prime, but that's neat. So something to keep in mind is that you can always pressure if hero is in menu. Um, Actually, never mind. I just remembered because if he gets like bang or I forget the name of the other one. It's been a while since I fought one. He can like sometimes auto punish gunmen. But if you don't see it on there, you can throw out a gunman to at least pressure him to like shield or get out of it. But yeah, there is a chance that if he does pull something like bang, it'll just pull you in and auto punish you. So actually, it's a little going to be a little bit more cautious on that. So a mistake that you kind of made here is that when he was at ledge, you didn't really hold your ground here. You kind of gave him backstage for free. Hero doesn't really have a good way to get off of ledge. Like, let's take a look at his frame data real quick. When he's at ledge, obviously you got get up attack. Aerials, he can do neutral air. Frame rate's not terrible, but he's going to be starting up here, so he could like drop down and do it. But he's still going to have to like deal with the rising properties of it. So, he's not going to get -6 on shield there. Forward air is frame 14, so nothing you have to worry about. Up air, technically there might be a way that he could approach with that, but most likely not an option you're going to have to deal with. And then, horizontally, not going to exactly have the best hitbox on it. And then these other ones you just don't have to worry about. He could jump up with Zap, which would be a frame 9 activation. But, you know, if you're able to get the trade, because this one's not going to really do anything, it's just going to knock you away, he's still going to be off stage over there. And then I don't think he really has the chance to jump and roll. Yeah, because that'd be frame 19. And I don't know if that puts him into like any weird states as well. Yeah, I was going to say that. So yeah, it's better to just like kind of hold your position there, because there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to be fighting Hero and he's going to have bounce, so you might as well get used to fighting him in positions where you don't have Can. And like over there, since Can was so far away, you might as well reset it. Because also keep in mind, if you run back and he jumps and he gets bounced there, then you hitting Can to him is just essentially useless. So just hold your ground here and reset Can. Yeah, just remember you could have covered him with Can from behind, because if you did that, you could have probably comboed that into an up air and killed him. Yeah. So, okay, what Sekai did there was perfect. So whenever they're going to zoom, put Can, if you have a platform, put Can on one platform and then just be ready to cover the other stuff with Duck Hunt. And that basically gives you the best chance of killing him when he does it. Yeah, it kind of messed up there. You could have just used Can to blow him up there and been okay. Honestly, you're actually in a kind of a bad spot right now. But yeah, what you Duck Hunts need to do, you need to keep that in mind. Have Can cover something and then use that to cover it, and don't cover that side with Duck Hunt. Sekai's got that in mind a lot, but he's not committing to it 100% of the time. Also, something to keep in mind is because his frame data is so bad, he is very, very susceptible to clay pigeon combo, so make sure you're ready for that. What worked on Zelda? There's a lot of things that work on Zelda, so I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Clean. Oh. Verse? Looks? Thanks for the follow. Oh, no. I'm assuming that was an input error. Also, something to always keep in mind about Hero is just be patient on ledge. That's going to be the best way to get around like any ledge trap he goes for. This is why things like Lucario and Rage are hated, but not Terry's Go stuff. What? I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. That was good. Ooh, yeah, you caught him up. All right. Yeah, that was a solid game. He also didn't get a lot of bounce, too, so that helped a lot. Also, I have no idea what's going on with the score at the bottom. You both gained a game there. Let's see, Ultimate is great, but Mix all has a Dust Loop Wiki or something. Yeah, we do have Smash Wiki, and it's very inconsistent on whether people have filled that out to the best of their ability or not. You were down 2-1. That's where you clipped it. That's a weird place to clip it. So something to keep in mind is that if you have hero hitting the top of your shield with Nair and he's not spacing it, you can grab that. Because, you know, for grabs, you have, I forget what the exact frame data is. It's 10 frames. Oh, Better Dog, thanks for the $10. We're now $10 closer to getting Fauna Switch. So let me get to, yeah, because like basically when they do neutral air, it's going to be -6 on shield if they do it perfectly. So if they're hitting the top of your shield, it's probably going to take a good like 3 or 4 frames before they hit the bottom of it. So by all accounts, if you buffer a grab, you should be able to get them. But that's if they're hitting the top of your shield. If they're doing it perfectly, then don't bother with it. I'm not going to lie, I did not know that broke shields. It's just been a very long time since I watched Hero. That was unfortunate. So something to kind of remember is that Hero running straight at you is not really scary. Kind of in the same way that like Shulk running at you is not really scary just because the frame data is really bad. So like as long as they're this close, like if Shulk's over here running at you, different story, you can get his attacks out. If they are this close, like Hero's frame data is not good. At least like hit right in front of him. So, you know, he can at least like jab. Just frame 6, which isn't terrible. Dash attack, that's going to be a no. Fourth tilt's going to be like a frame 9. Aerials, frame 8. So, and the other thing too you got to remember is like it kind of starts in a weird angle. Like, so technically you'll still have this part out. So like if you kind of like just jump and do a nair, if he doesn't space his aerials correctly, you'll just be able to stuff him out there. Yeah. Not too much you can do in that position. Just remember that if you're not 150%, just have Can right on top of you, so then that way you can always survive a hit. That one you could have pinged on him. Yeah. The timing on that was a little weird. So I'm assuming that your shield was a little bit damaged because that time that move didn't break your shield. I'd have to go back and watch it. Unless he had like oomph on. Then that makes more sense. Honestly, you didn't really need to make a big gamble play there. You cheesed him once with it. Don't expect to cheese him again with the F smash. So let me see if there's a better bit rate. This is... Oh, is that... Okay, never mind. This is not 720p. Okay, good weight there. There you go. Perfect. That's textbook what you need to do there. Oh, Suradoa. Thanks for the $10. $20 closer to getting Fauna Switch. Let's check that move real quick, because I'm going to assume you can clay pigeon him for doing that, but I don't know. Thwack is negative 28 on shield, so God, what frame is Clay Pigeon again? Frame 17. I think if you jump, nah, I think it's gonna be a little bit too slow because I think shield drop is like 10 frames, I think. No, shield drop's 11. So you like barely have enough time to do that. But theoretically possible. 0% though, grab's not a bad one to get. Saroda. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Okay, now you've got bounce, so just ignore your projectiles. Like, that right there just kind of explains, like, how you can play the hero matchup and not worry too much. Your frame data is always going to be better than his, so just box him. You'll be fine. Honestly, this character's not bad to play as, like, a beginner duck hunt, just because it forces you to, like, learn how to play duck hunt without projectiles. And once you have that down, and then you add the projectiles on top of it, you'll be a much better duck hunt. Yeah, not much you can do there. Again, yeah, you just got risky there. You can keep it simple. Oh, I thought you got the back air there. Honestly, don't forget that you can also throw out a gunman the second that you see zoom as well, and then you might be able to get the other stuff with like up air. Perfect. Yeah, so you always got to keep in mind against like heroes. Just keep it safe, just because you never know like what type of BS you can throw at you. So don't ever do the big swings, unless like you really need to gamble. Well, that's good to know. You know, it's kind of worth knowing that his jab doesn't break Clay Pigeon. Let me see if F tilt does too. Forward tilt. Okay, that should. But if forward tilt stales once, actually, no, because, yeah, I think if this stales once, then maybe that wouldn't break it either. So yeah, you might be able to actually CP through him a little bit more than I would think. Honestly, it's good that if you're playing along with what you're seeing, because in that way you're at least like training your eyes on what to look for. Oh god. Oh. You didn't trust that you had it covered with can. I think that kills? Yeah. Yeah, no, Hero just has some of those things that pop your shield. So you got to play really safe. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, when Hero does get bounce, something that you can at least do with your projectiles is throw it out. So obviously you got to keep in mind that he is gonna auto reflect all your things. So don't be in an area where you can get damaged there because he cannot get damaged physically. So don't even bother with that. But if he is known to be more aggressive against you the second that you throw out something, like let's say Can's on the field and he's going to automatically run to you, then that can actually give you like a pretty good way of knowing where he's going to be so you can punish him. Though I would say this, like I wouldn't recommend using Canna against that as a strategy. Use Gunman more because like if he's going to be aggressive against Gunman, then that also gives him a meat shield to hit, which makes it easier to punish him. And then as long as you know your Gunman timings, you'll know when to avoid those areas. Yeah, exactly what you're saying, Wife is then. Yeah, that's the one thing that thing shambles those Gunman pretty badly. No idea why you did that there. Yeah, like honestly, the strongest position that you'll always have against Hero is just controlling ledge. So just stay over here so you can just keep knocking him off. Then you can get him to a percent where he's just gonna die to back air, and then just keep looking for that, and you'll be in a much better position. Yeah, not much you could do there. Also, I should mention when Hero does have bounce, do not use Can because the reflected shot will do more damage to you. Oh, God. You know, I really thought that you missed that one there. Okay, good. Good call out there. The other thing too is if he is going to be zoning out with those projectiles, don't forget you can anchor can. So that'd be like the other time that you throw out a projectile. So I was like, okay, I don't want to deal with like fire, or you don't want to deal. I don't honestly. I haven't played this matchup enough to like really say if I have to remember like what roles get blocked by can too, but that's something you can always do. Yeah, our magnet paws are gigantic. Okay. Yeah, something that's going to help you a lot is, like I mentioned earlier, just be a lot more patient against Hero. Hero can only throw out one option to cover you, and that's it. So as long as that one option comes, or you dodge that one option, then you're in the clear. So just be patient on ledge. Ah, dang it. So what you could have done there is like up air, drag down, up tilt, then probably another up air. Oh, he should be dead. Ah, dang it. Let me check that real quick. 'Cause I think... Yeah, as long as you do fair on his shield and fast fall, you should always be able to jab and stuff out everything besides up B out of shield from Hero. Just keep that in mind. You have projectiles that are set up for anchor can? Yeah, every single projectile sets up for anchor can. I think also that applies to... Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure that applies to Zap too. So like that, like as long as he doesn't have bounce set up, you can basically create a way that makes it impossible for him to approach. Which I haven't really seen used here. Okay, that was a good attempt. Sizzle, that was the name of it. Jesus. I was gonna say, I don't think that one should kill. Oh, you're done. There's nothing you're doing in that position. I'm playing Super Lost One. Yeah, the issue that you have, Sekai, is like you don't stop pressing buttons. And like for the most part they're pretty smart. But when you get like caught in that moment, so you have to remember is that every single time you press a button, that is an opportunity for them to punish you. And you've got to keep in mind, you know, where they're at for those different types of things. Hero is definitely one that you got to play fairly defensively for most of neutral. But like once you're next to them, you can kind of mash on them. And there's not going to be too much they can do. I use Anchor Can effectively. I can probably talk about Anchor Can a lot more in an upcoming set with Fawn because they fight a Mega Man and they should be utilizing it in that matchup. But I'll have to see because I haven't watched that set yet. I'm going to say, very bold of you to do that. If they're top decking or like just like thinking of using Thunder, like that's an auto punish on their part. Not a good way to start. Also, your can's in a very bad area right there. Like also, let's say you waited on ledge, you wait for them to press a button and then you can just kind of auto respond with something to get around it. So keep that in mind. Yeah. I do want to say, I think they're down, like if they get close enough, I do think their down tilt might be able to hit us. I don't know if they get any confirms off of it though. So that's something that I'd have to check. They could definitely get like an air dodge or F smash, but I'd have to check it a little bit more. Yeah. So like that's the thing. Once you're there and if you see them top decking, just look at their thing and then just respond. Ah. Honestly, I couldn't tell if, because I remember there was one video of Raito fighting a hero. He was holding shield the entire time, but it still made him fall asleep. So it sucks that you have it on Twitch though, because you can't go the frame by frame on here. But yeah, like something that I'm noticing is that you're not taking every, at least in this set so far, you're not taking every opportunity to set up. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like something that's good about the setup that Sekai did there, it's like, you know, even if you guess wrong, you're still sort of got that area covered, and if not, like neutrals reset, which is what Zoom normally does, so nothing bad about it. That looked weird. Ah. Okay, there you go. What happened to the game audio? Okay, good setup there. Again, like right there, you did no setup at all, and you could have like had a lot more ground covered there. Okay, at least you got that. Again, no setup again. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. I wasn't sure why you like decided to just let him get back for free there, but okay. That was perfect. That was perfect right there. Yeah, Thunder's not safe on shield. Let me check to see what the actual. Where is it? Zap. So yeah, -12, -25, or -29. So, you know, you can definitely punish it if he jumps up and does that. But yeah, no, something to always keep in mind is that like Hero is a sitting duck trying to recover, so that's something you can always exploit. So yeah, if you guys practice that, very good way to do it. Just, you know, always ideal to have something to cover you if you miss. But if you do like you know, drift back nair, you should be on stage in order to cover their ledge option. But you need to make sure you space up properly. Again, I'm not really a big fan of the way that you're utilizing can right there. That's scary. But, you know, if they're the type of player to drop down charge, then okay, that makes sense. But they may not always be that. If he catches on to that habit, he can punish you pretty easily with it. Yeah, it's like, again, you could have put your cannon in a better position to get more coverage there. For a second, I know you were thinking about going for gunman there. I know you were thinking it because that was just an auto tech chase situation there. Also, what Sekai did there, like number one reason why you guys just need to be a little bit more patient when recovering there. Because like if he didn't do that, then he would have been caught by that up B. So he had to change his timing for that. Good catch. Yeah, just keep in mind, like the way that you're gonna cover that is going to be the same way that you're going to cover like Shulk jump art. So just throw can somewhere on stage, and then you could throw out an early aerial to beat out however they try to come back aggressively. But if not, you just hold shield, and then if they go past you, hopefully can catches them. Oh, good catch. Ah. You had like so much good coverage with that cam, but then you decided not fair it. Yeah. That was really good recovery there. The main reason why like they were kind of like messed up there is just because they were stuck on roll. So you were able to get around that pretty easily. I can't tell if that can't hit them or not. I feel like it didn't. Also, it is worth noting that he didn't do an automatic get up over there when he was hanging on ledge, so you might be able to catch him with some things. You know, I thought you were close to dying, but then I realized you were at 42%. Hey, good stuff. I honestly do not know how negative that is on you. Let me see. I'm assuming that's true, though. Let me see. Snooze. Doesn't say. So it's active frame 6, but it lasts a total... Okay, so that's very unsafe if it hits you at the beginning. That's good to know. So yeah, if they do it point blank, you can up smash that. Guaranteed. Oh, you did it too early. That was definitely your fault there. Otherwise, you had a really good setup there. Yeah, what happened with PogChamp is that the original face of PogChamp is a very cringe individual, so they changed his face with a lizard, which is very Pog. Also, yeah, in terms of stages that you want to go to, I haven't really played this matchup enough to say which ones I like more. But I do feel like I wouldn't be surprised if this is more of a preference thing. I do think that if you are closer to him, you can scrap with him a lot better. And that makes it hard for him to get things started. But on the other hand, having that time to just be outpatience him does help out quite a lot as well. And you can just wait for him to burn some MP, then put him in a bad situation. But I think ultimately it'll come down to preference, what type of match you want to do. If you want to be more in his face and take advantage of that negative aspect, you can do that. You will always win the patience game against him, so having a larger flat stage will also help in that respect too. Something to take note of is unless it's he's doing thwack, doing a full hop against pretty much all of his roll options is probably going to put you out of harm's way. At least if you're far away. If you're close to him, thwack is the main thing you have to worry about. You might be able to jump over thwack. I just haven't. That's not something I've tested myself. Ah, that. I am 100% certain that you could have gotten. Let me see. How negative is that on hit? That is. Huh, get up attack actually doesn't have frame advantage on here. Let's check our other resource. I feel like he should be going in for a lot more grabs while heroes in bounce. I didn't think about that, but that makes sense. That was an F smash? Gotcha. Where is hero? There he is. Get up, attack, frame. Oh, ledge attack. So it's negative 22. So on parry, you definitely get a lot more on that. Do they have parry? Yeah, well, regardless. Well, actually, I think it'd just be straight negative 22 frames. That's good to know. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you had yourself covered with Can. If you see him double power up himself, the last thing you should do is jump on stage. Go to ledge. Go to ledge there. Oh, he had bounce on, yeah, so you can cover that with projectiles. Oh, dang. That was like really good hurt box shifting to get around that. Oh, did he run out of MP? I guess he did. Yeah, because he's stuck in the grab and not... That makes a lot more sense. The only thing against about like grabbing Hero though is like it can be, depending on what he's doing, it can be a little bit hard to get that. Yeah. Yeah, it's like you do always need to be like cautious about shielding against Hero. And then that's it there. Okay. I mean, overall, you did some things that were pretty good. But like, you kind of got heroed. That's the best way to put it. So overall, you know, your neutral sense is pretty good. Your ledge trapping was pretty good for the most part. But it's just like there's some key moments of Hero that if you don't respect him at the right times, he's just gonna like kind of obliterate you. Main things that you got to keep in mind is that not everything that he does on shield is going to be safe. And then the times that you need to be worried about shield is if he's buffed up, which he did do a decent amount. So to keep his like projectiles in check, having that anchor can out there or having those gunmen block those things is not a bad thing to do. But you kind of need to get those things out when he's in there. Because like if he top decks and he gets something good, then you can be screwed. But he doesn't really seem like a player that top decks, so I don't think that's really something you have to worry about. Bounce a burst option? I don't think bounce is really a burst option. It's just that you can just kind of ignore everything that you're doing when you do that. I'm trying to think of some other things. The thing that like I'm kind of bad about is that I can't really rewind things to and Twitch, so that's why it's like if you guys ever send me videos, please like upload it to YouTube somehow, or send me like the actual video file so I can actually go on like VLC and go frame by frame through it, because that makes it a little bit easier to do. You meant Kaboom? Oh yeah, Kaboom's nuts. Your zoom coverage was good, so no notes on that. I'm trying to think because it's like I can't really think of, because like a lot you're at that level where it's like a lot of the issues that you're making are like those like little micro adjustments that you need to make. It's a little bit easier to like kind of see them when they're happening. And the other thing too is like I personally do need to lab out this matchup more. This is not one that I've been able to like theory craft a lot, and there's just like a lot of weird things about Hero in general. Something I will say is like I don't think I really noticed him getting low on MP a lot, so I don't think he really had like room to improve coverage on that front. And I think the bigger thing is make sure that you're watching him like slightly more. Like when you're kind of playing in general, I do feel like sometimes you get kind of a little bit caught up in what type of like neutral coverage that you're trying to go for. And I think if you're kind of paying attention to like how close Hero was or like preemptively trying to stuff him out, yeah, it's key moments where you lose. Like your overall game plan is pretty solid, but like you're not like, yes, yeah, there are no super big glaring things like, oh, you're not doing this for the matchup. Like keep in mind if he's in accelerate, you can throw out like Nair preemptively towards him and he will get stuffed out. So he's approaching you a lot with that. So I don't really think that's a uncommon thing to happen or a way that you could reverse things in your favor. And what was the other thing? And the other thing too is just like there's a lot. I do know that he got some like big like openings against you, like doing clay pigeons, and there weren't too many bad ones. It's just like one of those things. If you throw it at the wrong time, it's going to cost you a stock against Hero especially. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. I would say like those two, and play around Anchor Can more. You're using Can well in terms of just like neutral setups, but like I think to avoid like Hero cheese, if you play with the mentality of, okay, fire hit it, let's leave Can here so that way it can absorb everything else, I think you'll find neutral a lot easier in terms of how he approaches you, and I think you'll get a lot more openings off of that. So that would be the one thing I would recommend doing overall. Two things I'd recommend doing. So yeah, we'll stop the recording there.